I know of a 96-year-old woman who has a sunny disposition and her face is the sweetest like a little girl. But I also know a middle-aged man whose face has contours of wrinkles and his eyes have no hope. It is true that how we show up in life is a sum total of all our experiences, our perceptions, our thought processes, and these are defined and shaped not only by genetics, but also how our memory stores those experiences, and we are also defined with the conversations that we hear when we are growing up. For example, if a girl is told when she's young that please do not go out when it's dark, then that girl is going to grow up. She's going to grow up with a fear of darkness and not have very comfortable relationships with the male community. Now, these are our baggages to carry, and we don't have to carry these baggages. Like George Clooney said in the movie Up in the Air, he says, what baggage are you carrying? Drop it, drop it, drop it. So I think these are the conversations we need to have. We are in a rat race. We're all monkeys and donkeys in a rat race, and we are not listening. Now, the one thing that we need to observe is what's happening around us. We have a catastrophic pandemic that has rattled mankind, and we also have this resignation movement that's going on, where hundreds of thousands of workers are leaving their jobs, and they are evaluated, and they are thinking of their stressful careers. These are the conversations that's happening. They're thinking because thinking is an art, and that is my subject today, art of thinking. We are very blessed, in fact, because we have, as humans, the capacity and the ability to actually have critical thinking with imagination and with creativity. So today I would like to talk about the art of thinking and how we can use these skills so that we can navigate through life, so that we can drop our limited beliefs, as well as go with a fresh perspective to a beautiful space, which is happy. We can dream again. We can again smile at the sight of rainbows and those sprinkles on an ice cream cone. That is where we need to. The conversation should be, what are we thinking that we shouldn't be thinking, and why are we thinking what we shouldn't think? It all goes back to the inception of your perceptions. Where is this happening? It is that small point between your experience and when you adopt an appropriate perception to that experience, that becomes your inception of perception. Let me give you a small example. Imagine now it's 6 a.m. and it's pouring cats and dogs, it's pouring bulls and cattle, and you are the one who has a cricket match, or that's the day you decide to get married. You are going to get very, very upset because that rain has spoiled your plans. But if you are a farmer, you're going to be saying and blessing that rain, right? It's all in the perspective. Like Eckhart Tolle said, just adjust your insides and your outside will fall into place. And that's so true, that's how. But to understand where these perceptions are concepted, I think we have to go further. We have to go all the way back to our adolescent age. It is said, according to our development studies, that in the first 1,095 days, which is only 3 years, all our cognitive skills, all our psychological skills are already in place. And by the time you're 7, you are able to hold a ball, a cricket ball coming towards you, and you can tie your shoelaces. By the time you are 8 years old, my friends, all your habits and your traits are already in place. Whether it is confidence, whether it is lack of confidence, self-esteem. Now, psychologists say that it's very unfortunate that the worst corrosion of our self-esteem happens with our parents, because they consciously or unconsciously are verbally abusive, they're aggressive, overly critical, and sometimes very manipulative in a way that, oh, look at your pathetic grades, and look at your brothers, look at your neighbor's grades. These conversations scar us for life. I'm going to share a small little story. There was this cute little elephant, and he was tied with a rope to the fence. And he tugged and he pulled and he tried so hard to get away and run in the jungle. He couldn't do it, he was defeated, and then he just resigned to his fate. Now this elephant grew up and he became a strong elephant with a tusk and strong legs, but he never once tried to tug that. Why? Because he had this belief since he was young that fence is immovable. We humans are the same. We are always tied to the shackles of our mind, right? We are always thinking of self-sabotage stories. So I want to ask some of you here, who gets these thoughts sometimes that I'm not good enough and I cannot do it? Be honest. Or who's thinking, right, I'm so glad you're being honest. And who thinks that, oh, no one wants to hang out with me, so I'm not lovable. So these are the self-taboo thoughts that we all indulge in. I can, I am not, I don't. And they absolutely shatter our self-confidence, and they actually lead to phobias sometimes. I want you to look at the status, and I really want you to look very, very carefully. It's quite depressing, right? Take a moment to see that. Look at the next one. I just want to say, where were we when the Gen Zs, 700,000 of the Gen Zs were committing suicides? This is the conversation we need to start thinking. This is the art that we need to learn, art of thinking. Now, once we have these statistics, I know it's very depressing, but the good news is all of this anguish we feel is so reversible, right? That's good news. What do we really want? In 2014, a very senior Forbes contributor did a survey, right? And she did the survey and she found these 8 answers. So take a moment to see if your answer is up there as well. The point being that across all genders, sexes, and ages, we all want the same things, right? There's only 2 things that you need to do to achieve it. One is to understand the principle, what you think you are, and the second is you got to chase it, you got to back it with action. That's the most important thing, right? So what do? We adopt something, and some things we leave. Now, my mentor Phyllis Crystal, she was 98 when she came to India and taught some of us, and we have become her legacy facilitators. And she said, anything that is toxic, you got to get rid of it. We all agree with that, right? Anything toxic, whether it's habits, it's friends, whether it's thought process. Unluckily, we can't put relatives in that category, even though we would like to, right? So what some of us have decided and come to the conclusion that the most critical thing ever that we can do for ourselves is get rid of our inner critique. Now, who is your inner critique? And some of us might think that, oh, we don't have one. Now, he has a voice that is harsh, demeaning, and criticizes sometimes with no object. The self-criticism is so harmful for you. He is also always talking about your weakness and lacks. So learn to recognize him. He plays in the zone of black and white, either success or failure, nothing in between. And he is so repetitive. He keeps playing old stories of blame, of shame, of guilt, of victimization. So obviously we have to befriend it before he makes us so fearful and he destroys our keenness and curiosity to explore the world. So how do you get to calm this inner critic? How do you start to befriend him? And I think this is going to be your biggest takeaway today. So first, tune in and make a mental image of him. Draw him on a paper if you wish to. And a client of mine said that the inner critic looks like a toad, and that is perfectly okay. And then get curious and start asking him some questions. Ask questions like, I understand you're here. What is it that you're trying to tell me? What is your intention? And slowly start showing compassion, because compassion and kindness are the most beautiful abilities of human, along with compassion and gratitude, right? We all know that. Now, how do you show compassion? I invite you all to put your hand up like this in front of you. yeah? And then slowly bring it to the space where you're feeling discomfort today. What's going to happen is over-criticism always. Keep your hand out. It's a great exercise. It's going to wake you up. And then know that's over-criticism. Keep your hand out. Feel the energy. Let it get energized. Over-criticism is always manifested as a pain in your body, even cancer. Now slowly, with love, bring that where you think your pain is today. And if you don't have a pain, put it on your heart. This is the most beautiful exercise. You can put it where you think you have a pain. It could be the knee, the shoulder. My friends, this is the most beautiful thing that you can ever do for yourself. So Oscar Wilde said that be you, because everyone else is taken. So as I conclude, I would like to say this, that above and beyond is a very beautiful, meaningful space of heart, body, spirit connection, and there lies you, and that's where you will find you. So go out there, explore the world, and claim what is yours. Go move mountains. Thank you.